Welcome to Beyond the Build, your blueprint to outdoor living. Each episode highlights what every homeowner and contractor should understand before taking on an outdoor project. Brought to you by the team at Rocky Mountain Outdoor Living. Let's get started.
Yes, welcome back to Beyond the Build. I'm Darby here with Nick Lippitt. Beyond the Build brought to you by Rocky Mountain Outdoor Living. We are here to educate you on the process of under the undertaking of an outdoor living project, swimming pools, patios, pavers, whatever it is, roof structures, decks, fire, all that stuff. The purpose of this podcast is obviously to guide you through the process of the outdoor living projects from how to choose a contractor, which is what we've been talking about. And we're going to keep on going through this process and get you to talk about swimming pools and specifics. But we are part of the series. We're in this is the 7th part of this series where we are preparing you. We've already kind of talked to you through how to find contractors. We've talked you through designs. We've talked you through what to look for in good contractors during consultations. We've talked about what should happen after the consultation. So now the consultations happened. We talked about the communication has or hasn't happened, but between now and this point where you now have a bid, a budget has now been delivered to you. Now what? What do? You have 3 budgets. Let's say you have 3 people. 3 people have sent you a bid, and they're all completely different prices.
I'm going to be as transparent as I can be.
That's usual.
You probably are saying, holy shit.
Yeah, right. How can these be so far off?
Well, I just think that depending on the initial process of some of the things we've already talked about here, you may or may not know what's coming or what to expect. And a lot of the better contractors will provide you with some general idea of what it's going to cost. Even still, they always come in higher for the most part. But, I think that there's a lot of people. Doesn't matter. Right. If you're buying just sod and rock and mulch, right, or you're getting a deck or you're buying a swimming pool, every time you're like, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And so that's not what ChatGPT said it was going to be.
Exactly.
So you got the budget, and you're probably looking at them, and it's really, really, really hard to understand the differences.
Yes.
A good budget will have a lot of clarity behind it. It will have basically a scope of work, a price, a scope of work, a price, a scope of work, a price, a scope of work, a price. It won't have all of the scope and one price.
If that is the case, that's probably one you can, at least start. You ask for them to separate it. They should have done that anyway.
I just think that if you're blending it like that, there's a reason behind it.
Right.
And so, we want to talk a little bit about the budget and what it should look like and what to expect. And I'll tell you right now, like the way we write our budgets at Rocky Mountain Outdoor Living is not the only right way.
No,
at all. And I have seen hundreds and hundreds of competitors' budgets. And some of them I look at them and I'm like, man, that's nice.
Yeah,
There's
for sure.
Opportunity there. Or, I look at some of them and I'm like, these are so broad.
Yeah.
That for sure it's missing stuff.
Yeah.
So I would tell you that, a good one has a lot of clarity behind it. A good one may or may not give you a description for the amount of work, so like it might say paver patio and then the size of it.
Yeah.
And then the price. You're going to see a lot of them that'll just say paver patio, seating wall, bam.
Right.
And so one thing I would tell you when you're looking at your bids to think about is that's most likely what you're going to sign. And what you don't realize until it's too late is the contract that you're signing in this industry states if it's not included in the bid or the budget, then it's not included in the scope or the project.
Right.
So often clients will come back and say, you guys are 30% more, 20% more, 80% more, right? And so, but we're really not.
No.
Right? We're just being super transparent and we're being really clear in the scope of work. And they may or may not know what they don't know. And so when you get these really open-ended bids and budgets, some of it is a strategy to say, okay, well, when I go to build this project, if I don't have something in here, then it's a change order.
Right.
And a change order and a change order and a change order.
There's some specifics that people do all the time for that very thing.
Yeah. So I think that, when you're looking at the bid, you're definitely looking for clarity.
Yeah.
Like good descriptions.
Yes.
It doesn't just say paver, patio, X.
Right.
It'll talk about the construction of the patio. It'll talk about the product of the patio.
It should, right? Because that's a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
So just here in Colorado, Pavestone, Baselite, Belgard, Unilock, Teco Block, every single one of those companies manufacture a paver,
Yep.
and they're all different prices.
Right.
And they're all different quality levels.
Right.
So if we're bidding a project 400 square feet with Teco Block and someone else is bidding a project 400 square feet with Baselite, there will be a 30% difference.
Absolutely.
No questions asked.
Right.
And as a homeowner, you're like, oh, I'm going to go with this one because it's cheaper. Until you get to the showroom and see the product, and you're like, I don't like that.
Right.
It's Rachel and I fairly recently built a new home, and we went it through the model. We looked at the home. We were like, man, this is beautiful. Here's the price, blah, blah, blah. I picked out a couple structural options. We get to the showroom, and I remember the first time we went through this, we've been through it twice. We looked at all the stuff in the showroom. We're like, we want that. Oh, that's more. Okay.
Of course it is.
We want that. Well, that's more too.
Right.
Okay. Well, show me what's included. Oh, just that or that.
Right.
I don't want either of them.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's why you're at the showroom. It's
Right.
more money.
Yes.
We were under contract. We had already paid. We didn't know. Like, it doesn't say level 1 finishes. It certainly doesn't say basic.
Right.
finishes.
Right.
Cheap.
Yeah. Cheapest stuff we could find. Yeah.
So I think that manufacturer is important. And then style is important.
Yeah.
Right. So every single bid we send out the door, our basic product is Belgard's Dimension or Origins 12. It's a beautiful paper.
It is.
Beautiful paper.
Yeah.
There is a way to make it cheaper, but that's not who Rocky Mountain Outdoor
No.
is. And the clients who want to work with us don't want cheaper. Like, that would be the base level, even though it's a really, really nice product.
Right.
So, things like 10 pine trees. What size?
10 pine tree. Yeah.
Like a 5 gallon or a 10 gallon or a 6 foot or an 8 foot or a 10
Huge.
foot or a 12 foot.
Yeah.
Huge differences.
Trees, there are massive price differences in trees for tree sizes. Huge differences.
So as a homeowner, you're looking at these bids, and this is going to be a really good podcast for you. You don't understand how to read them.
Right.
Or you don't understand why there's such a variation in contractors. And so if you listen to the podcast before this, now it's going to start to make sense. Mm-hmm. We talked about designs, right? If I'm bidding a design, the design will say 10 8-foot Colorado blue spruce.
Correct.
Which is a different price than 10 8-foot Vanderwolf pines.
Right.
Because a Vanderwolf pine is a specialty pine and a Colorado spruce is not. And so if it says 10-foot pines and you bid Colorado spruce and I bid Vanderwolf and you think your bid is less expensive, technically it is, but it's a lesser product.
Right.
And so when you're reviewing your bids, you're really trying to understand what everyone is bidding. And so if you went down the design process and you have a design, you hand it to everybody, then you would assume that they're all the same.
They should be.
They should be.
Right.
But a clear description is important, really important. So things like we talk about tile, and then we put an allowance up to X amount of dollars per foot, right? And we talk about coping, and then we call it out. And then mulch, right? Like, okay, what kind?
Right.
Colored mulch from Home Depot out of the bag?
Right.
Of course it's cheaper.
Right.
Than Washington cedar.
Right.
And so, I think that when you're going through this process, a good contractor will be willing to sit down with you and explain the differences. We'll do it all day long.
Absolutely. I welcome it.
Yeah. Like, we will show you. And here's the other thing I want you to know. Give my bid to somebody. I don't care.
Please.
This is what it costs to run my business. One of our core values is transparency, which you've probably learned by listening to these podcasts. I have nothing to hide. This is the cost for what it is that I am bidding. I don't care who has it. And so I think clients are often like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with that, or, that's unethical. Or if if there's something on their budget that states that, okay, then don't.
Right.
But I'm not trying to hide anything.
No, and if you are, why? Why?
Sure.
Why do you not? I mean, we feel confident. I mean, so much goes into the back end of what our pricing is, too. I mean, there's the whole, I mean, we could do multiple podcasts on that alone, but
Yeah.
So we're very comfortable with our prices. We know that our prices are what they need to be to deliver the quality of work and experience that we deliver to people. So we're not afraid for people to see our prices, and then other people shouldn't be either. If they're pricing them fairly and they're pricing them with, kind of information and data behind what they're doing and experience behind what they're doing, then they should be able to stand behind it.
If you're pricing your projects based on what it costs to run your business, it is what it is.
Right.
Like my business costs different than this business, than that business, and there will probably be a variation in it, but it's not 30%.
No, and you say often that, if someone doesn't want you to stay in business, they might not be a good customer for you. I mean, these, people should understand that there is a cost of doing business.
For sure.
So
you're, as a client, and this will be interesting for those listening that are clients, you should want your contractors to make money.
Right.
And you might say, Nick, I want this to be done for the most affordable price possible. You're right. Do you want them to pick up the phone in a year?
Right.
You want them to pick up the phone in 2 years? You want them to pick up the phone in 6 months? You want to build a pool that has a leak in it and you can call somebody and they'll actually stand behind it, or a structure issue, or, a deck board that has shrunk. Like, if you are looking to do business with a contractor that is cheap as possible, then expect cheap as possible after the fact, cheap as possible communication, and so on and so on and so on.
Well, they'll likely be gone because they probably priced it so low that they're paying to do the job and they're not making money on the job. And so then they will not be there anymore.
Well, and so one question you could ask is, you could ask them, hey, I'm just curious how you price your projects.
Yeah.
And if you get, we just price it by the square foot, that's a red sign.
That is.
That's a red flag. If they say we price it based off what it cost us to build your project, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
And so as a client, I think it's important for you to know that if you look at a bid and it's for a patio that's 400 square feet and you take the number and divide it by it, and you're like, okay, well, I need to save this much money, so I'm going to make it 300 square feet and it's going to be this price. That's not how it works.
That isn't how it works.
And the way it works, and we're going to basically open up the back end of it in the podcast. When we bid a project, we bid all of the materials and the cost. We bid all of the labor and the cost. And then we bid subcontractors and the cost.
Equipment.
Right? Yeah. Equipment. And all of these things go into it. And so everyone's like, that doesn't make sense. Well, let me give you a very simple example. Concrete, right? So when you're pouring concrete at a client's home, if it's a smaller project, there's a short load cost. That would make your price per square foot go up. The other thing is that we need a pump truck, right? A pump truck is $550. If I take a pump truck that's $550 and I'm pouring 100 square feet, it's $5.50 a square foot. If I'm pouring 1,000 square feet, it's 55 cents a square foot to recover that cost.
Right.
And so with concrete alone, if you're pouring a small amount of concrete, you have a short load, plus you have a pump truck. Those costs are a part of your project, no matter if it's 10 square feet, 100 square feet, or 10,000 square feet. And so when you take that amount of money to recover, if you're looking at concrete, 100 square feet should cost $40 or $45 a square foot or more.
Right.
If you're looking at 1,000 square feet, it should be maybe closer to $14 or $16. And so a contractor understands how to bid will do that.
And a lot don't. And I think that's something
and a lot don't. And that's why they come and go.
Right. That's why they come and go. That's why, that's why they get halfway through a project and go, hey, I need another $10,000 or we need another $8,000 because,
what are you going to do at that point?
Right. You've got,
tell them no.
Right. You're halfway finished.
Not show up in the backyard being shambles.
Right. So then you're in that position, which again is why you want to have as much information on that proposal, on that bid as possible so that, we talk about this, we started this podcast for homeowners, but again, if you're a contractor for the same reason, everybody should be clear on what it is that is included. It's better for us to know what we're building for you.
Sure.
And it's better for you to know what you're paying for. So if it does just say deck, if it does just say patio, if it does just say swimming pool, we're going to list out on the swimming pool, what pool it is, the equipment that's involved. We're going to talk about plumbing allowances. We're going to talk about electrical. There are a lot of things that you're not going to see included on a lot of people's bids that we do include because again, the whole, the spirit is we want you to know what you're in for from the very beginning. And which is again, what this podcast is for.
Well, and we put allowances inside of our bids and people will say that's just an open end for you, but it's not.
No.
I'm putting an allowance in my bid because I want to be transparent to you that there's going to be a cost for this specific item and I don't know what it is. And it makes your experience better, which makes our experience better, right? Like if I put in here an allowance for electrical, at least you understand there's electrical costs.
Right.
If I just disregard electrical completely and you've maxed out your budget and you don't know that you need to plan for electrical and then gas.
Right.
And all of a sudden you have a $10,000 or $12,000 increase in cost. What if you can't afford it?
Right.
That makes your experience not good, which makes my experience not good.
And that's a real average number for that. I mean, that's a real spot on number for what it costs for a pool.
$10,000 or $12,000
easy. And so, yes, to not, a contractor shouldn't assume that that's coming. They should have told you. I mean, it's our job. You always tell me it's my job to educate people.
Yeah.
So it's their job to. Why would you know? Why would you think about that? You would just think, well, I guess it's included with the pool.
Yeah.
I guess moving the dirt off the side is included in the pool. I guess gas is included in the pool because of course we need the pool. We would need that stuff for the pool, but in many cases it isn't. So that's why we're talking about looking at these proposals to actually make sure that if you are comparing them, you're seeing they're all on the same kind of level playing field.
So another thing is like site restoration.
Yeah, that's a big one.
This is really, really, really hard in the world of construction. I will tell you though, that most outdoor living projects, if you're in a pre-existing home that already has pre-existing landscape, it is going to get destroyed.
Yep.
Who's going to pay for it?
Right.
And so is it accounted for? Is it at least brought to your attention that it's not included? Is it brought to your attention that we think it's going to take 40 hours to put back, but we're unsure and we'll provide you with a bid before we do it? These are the things that when someone tells me, Nick, you're 30% more expensive, on paper today, maybe yes. When we're all said and done,
right,
I'm actually cheaper.
Right.
Because we've brought to your attention all of the things that you should expect. And these contractors in the world of change orders will nickel and dime you to death.
They will. And sometimes that's just kind of their plan. And sometimes it's because they don't know any better going in. So I think, that speaks to the experience, that we've had over time as we've learned that, hey, we need to add this as an allowance. Hey, we need to do this because we know that varies so much that we can't possibly put a number on it that we feel comfortable presenting to you. So that again comes with experience, comes with doing this for, a long 18 years and counting,
Sure.
So
the other thing I would tell you is if you really, really need to know and you need a hard number, as you work your way through this process and you become more comfortable and you're like, this is the contractor I'm going to work with. I just need some more details.
Yeah.
I can get you an exact price.
Oh yeah.
It's just that normally we wouldn't bring trade partners out during the bidding process. So if you said, listen, we want to work with you. You're our guy. You're at 125. My absolute out the max out the door is 140. I see some allowances here. Can you take the steps to get these allowances to actuals if I commit to working with you? Because if these allowances put me over 140, then I either need to shrink the patio a little bit or shrink the deck a little bit or shrink the pool a little bit, or I'm working with you, but I need to work with you at a number that I cannot exceed. We'll do it.
That's a reasonable request for sure.
But at the beginning, we don't do that because you are getting 3 to 5 bids, right? And if you're chasing a number, it's not going to be us.
Right.
And I'm not going to pull my electrician into every single job that I bid. Could you imagine if we brought Andrew out to every single job?
They wouldn't be our electrician anymore. Right.
Right. I mean, all he'd do is be looking at projects all day long.
He can't do that.
We do have a good idea.
Yeah.
We do have a really good idea. Like to run a line from A to B, we know. Right. To install a pump, we know. To install a can light, we know. What we don't know is like, do you need electrical service upgrade?
Right.
You know, do we have to rework your existing box to put in a bunch of mini breakers to get enough room to put in our new box? You know, so on the gas, like, do we have to reroute it? Do we have to go under sidewalks? Do we have to get a meter upgrade because your pressure is not big enough? Like,
right.
Nobody takes the time to go through that. We get you a really, really good general idea.
We get real close.
And if you do need a hard number, it's not unreasonable.
No.
Like you and I were just talking about a project 15 minutes ago.
Yep.
And the homeowner came back and said, hey, we see that you put an allowance in for the beams. Can you give us an idea of like what the number is and what it could be? And we responded to him and said, this is the number we've put in here. This is why it could be more. Here's the percentage that it could be. But as we're talking about this, we could also say, hey, listen, if we're your guy, right, and you feel really comfortable, we can get you an exact price on every single thing.
Right.
But this is the general pricing based on where we're at in the current process.
Yeah. And it's close. And we have learned over time with certain products like heaters. If you're going to put a heater in your roof, we know there's a good chance you might need a power upgrade. So we even put that on the estimate. It's listed right there that a power upgrade. So we've learned over time. So we're trying to go, hey, just so you know, this could happen. Just so you know, we don't know that it's going to happen until we get our electrical partner out there. But that's something, again, we want to prepare you, and any good contractor is going to want to prepare you as best they can, because these aren't negative things. These are things that if you want this project, if you want this part of the project, this is just what it costs, but you should be able to be prepared for it.
Yeah. So I think a good contractor brings it to your attention and makes you aware that there's a cost for this, but we're not exactly sure what it's going to be.
Right.
I don't want to say a bad contractor, but other contractors will just put off to the side in a little bit smaller font, not included, not included, not included, not included, not included. And then they won't tell you. Like, we're going to tell you at the consultation. We're also going to tell you when we go through the bid with you,
right?
Hey, just so you know, this isn't, in fact, our bids are written in black, but our allowance items are written in red.
Right. We're not hiding.
Go through our bid, you're going to be like, why is there a color change?
Right.
Oh, because they're bringing to my attention.
Right.
That this is an allowance and could and will potentially change.
Or if you're buying these heaters, you may need a panel upgrade. Or if you're changing to this different cover on your pool, you may need this coping. Like, it's all, we are trying to call your attention to it.
Yeah.
So if
you've ever built any sort of construction project before, there's probably a lot of aha moments. Mm-hmm. There's probably a lot of, There's probably a lot of aha moments. There's probably a lot of, oh yeah, I wish I could have done that differently last time. And this is the whole purpose of the podcast. We're trying to bring to your attention all of the things that you should be aware of or be looking for.
Right.
98% of the people listening to this podcast aren't even going to be in the area in which we do business.
Right.
And so, we want it to be clear. And what we've learned is that there's actually a lot of contractors listening to this now, and they're changing the way they do business. So it's better for you as a client, and the experience is better for you as a client, which is elevating the entire industry as a whole, which is what we're really trying to do. So, a couple really key points out of this, because like you said, Darby, this could go on forever.
Right.
And what I would encourage you guys to do, read all of the titles, because there's a really good chance that we're going to do some specialized budget reviews.
We will. Yeah.
Like, understanding electrical budgets, right? And understanding gas budgets. And so as you're going through these, look through the titles and see what applies to you, because this podcast could go for 2 or 3 hours.
It could.
The things that we're really, 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 really looking for is clarity. Descriptions, are they detailed or are they really broad? Are you seeing pricing by scope of work versus pricing by the entire scope of work?
Right.
So like when I say that, I say, okay, are you seeing the price of trees versus plants versus irrigation? Or are you seeing, we're going to install trees, plants, irrigation, one total price?
Right.
The other thing is, are they bringing to your attention some of the unknowns? And is the company that you're working with willing to sit down with you and go through all of the bids you have and help you understand what the differences are? Here's the deal. If I look at a bid and their bid isn't different to mine, but their price is different than mine, this is what it costs to run my business.
Right.
This is what it costs to run their business.
Right.
They're less, I'm more, other than experience and communication and my team and my showroom and so on and so on. They're the same.
Right.
There are definitely, it's funny because you would think a smaller contractor would be at a smaller price. It's not.
It's not.
And we talk about that at a totally different
That's
podcast.
another one. Yeah.
But basically, to be honest, a company that's larger than mine might actually be more affordable than mine. And a company that's smaller than mine should actually be more expensive.
Correct.
But are they transparent and willing to show you the differences? Because that's a really, really big one. And then how are they on answering questions? And one thing I will tell you is if they're writing you a budget on site on a piece of paper out of their truck, coming back in and trying to hard sell you, walk away.
Yeah. That is.
It never, ever finishes good.
You can't possibly price it accurately sitting in your truck, same after a meeting with someone for an hour. It's just not possible to do it. So that's someone who's trying to just get a sale. What we are really trying to, we have met with people that we've decided we weren't a good fit for. So we are not just, this is not a used car sales lot situation. It is really about, we're partnering with you on a project that's at your home. That's going to be, so whoever you're choosing should be somebody you feel comfortable with and somebody that would be willing to sit down with you and explain and be able to stand behind their pricing. Like our pricing is, I'm not ashamed of this is what we know what it costs and I'm proud of what we do. And so I can talk about our pricing with people all day long.
We will also, we'll show it to you, right? We'll
show you the guts. We've done it.
Show you, like, being transparent about your pricing is probably one of the most valuable things you can do as a contractor. So if you're a contractor listening to this, rewind, hit that 10-second rewind button and re-listen to that. If a homeowner comes to us, and I've told you guys on the sales team all the time,
yeah,
just show them.
You have.
Show them how we came to what we've come to so that they understand that, yes, there's shipping included. Yes, there's permits. Yes, there's engineering. Yes, there's this. Yes, there's that. Yes, there's, restoration.
There's a crane. There's
crane. There's telehandlers. There's glue.
Yeah.
Like, just show them.
Yeah.
I don't care. And here's the other thing. Like, I'm just going to tell you, our gross margin target for hardscape landscape is 51%.
There it is.
And that gets us to a net margin of somewhere between 6 and 12. That's what it costs to run a business.
Get more transparent than that.
Yeah. Like,
I didn't know you were going to go that far, but okay.
Here's the bid. Here's the deal. If I give you a bid that's $100,000, most likely the gross margin on it's about 50.
Yeah.
But then after all of my overhead and everything that we have to do to run the business on $100,000, we're probably making somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000.
So,
and businesses that aren't run efficient like ours, after $100,000, they're probably making $1,000 or $2,000.
Right.
So a lot of people come back to us and they'll say, I love this comment. Hey, you're at 100. I'll give you cash and sign today if you do it for 90. The answer is no.
No, the answer is no.
And if the contractor says yes, most likely your project won't get finished.
It won't get finished because they might not be in business throughout the year. I mean, they might go out of business before your project is over. So yes, that is huge. And I did not know you were going to get that transparent, but that is, I should know better.
I run a business to make money. Our pricing is based on what we're trying to scale and build. One of our 10-year goals is to build a $50 million outdoor business,
right?
And an outdoor living company. And so that's what it costs for me to do what I want to do. And so that's where we're at. And if you appreciate that, then we're going to do business.
Right.
And if you don't, then we won't. And I'll tell you right now, we're not the right company for every client, and every client is not the right client for our company. That's why there's 1,000 outdoor living companies in the state of Colorado.
And that's why we're not trying to put other ones out of business either. There's work for people. So we're not trying to do that. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to make the industry better for everybody on both sides. And that's the goal here with
Which
Beyond
is why
the Build.
I coach my direct competitors.
That is true.
I would rather all of our clients, all of the clients out there have a great experience and everybody have work than clients not have a great experience, which is why we're taking time to record this podcast. And it's not even built out of benefit for our company.
No, we're not going to get anything out of this at all, except, the desired goal, which is what we hope to see. So we are going to continue this series. We have, this is the 7th in this series, and we're going to have a couple more to round up this series. And then you will start seeing different things about specific swimming pools and different kinds of decks. And we'll talk about different, electrical, we'll talk about gas. We'll talk about all of those kind of nitty gritty things in kind of more bite-sized ways too, kind of quick grab and go stuff. But thanks for being here. Check back for the continuation of this series with Beyond the Build. Thanks, Nick.
Beyond the Build from the team at Rocky Mountain Outdoor Living.